Alright, so, here's the deal. I got a computer keyboard, I have a musical keyboard, I have an Xbox controller. I've played a game of Rocket League recently that I thought was pretty good. I've also been learning about harmonies by watching videos on YouTube and by using an iPhone app. I'll actually find the name of the iPhone app because even though I've only gone through about 3 lessons, I feel strong enough about recommending it. It's called Musicopolis on the iPhone. I've been learning musical theory with a combination of YouTube videos and Musicopolis. Very excited about it. So, I'm prepared to entertain you. This is me on the screen during the game. I don't want to get your expectations up too high. This is not like I'm an amazing player kind of deal. This is just far more interesting, to be honest. It's not grand, it's not spectacular. It's not spectacle. It's just more like slice of life, it's umami. You're going to get to see where I am at my skill level playing a good game. And for reference, this is around between the 500 and 550 ranking in Rocket League, which is a really comfortable space for me where I tend to get a lot of good games, so I don't really feel any need to move up or down in that area. I'm actually really happy with the matchmaking in Rocket League. We're going to watch this game. Maybe I'll comment on it, but I tend to focus on the music or the game or bullshit based off of the last video I recorded of this. So see, I'm tired of this instrument, Let's try another one. I like the punch. Looks like I was going in for goal, but I didn't get greedy about any opportunities there. I was ready to return. This is very much how I play. Kind of like a goalkeeper that kind of wants to take a shot when they can. It's kind of how I play. So we're going to find a good instrument. So I'm returning to the goal to make. See, my priority right here is like defense. Every goal they don't score. Okay, I really like what I did right there. I really like how when I got backwards momentum and I was trying to get somewhere, I rolled with it quite literally. Good shot there, buddy. And just continued to move backwards, like backwards wasn't no thing. In the last video I've recorded, I had this long thing about how the the noise it makes when you score is a root and a fifth, which is something I've been learning about. The root and the fifth is the wow, look at that card just flying around. The root and the fifth is the next most harmonious combination of notes in the chromatic scale compared to an octave. And the reason for that is that the root and the fifth note on the major scale, so it's basically the first note on the major scale and the fifth note on the major scale, that combination is somewhat equidistant, I imagine. And what that means is that so sound is vibrations over time. So let's suppose that C is or the root is vibrating 200 times a second. And then the next octave up would be vibrating at 400 times a second, which is double, and the one below it would be 100 times a second, because octaves are managed or well, not created. Octaves are a reference to doubling and halving of frequencies. So anyway, those are the most harmonious, is the doubling and the halving of the frequency, because our ears like to hear simple fractions of hertz. So this is going, let's suppose this is going 200 times a second. This one would be going 400 times a second. And so it's kind of like, okay, everything's just kind of fitting into that pocket. Like there's nothing off about double and a half. You know what I mean? But then when you add a fifth into that, that would be like playing 200 hertz and 300 hertz. So it's like 150% increase. So what that does is it makes it so that every let's see if I can get this right. Every 3 times the root cycles, I didn't have a chance to get that going. You know what I mean? I just didn't. What you call it? Reflexes aren't that good. But my expectation should be. But see, the thing about Rocket League is when you invest in movement, you have to really follow through. And so if they went low with that ball, I wouldn't have a chance. So it's largely about prediction. So anyway, if C is going at 200 times a second and G is going, and these are not the correct numbers, this is just for demonstration purposes, and G is going at 300 times a second, then every 3 cycles of C would be 2 cycles of G. And that's not a perfect ratio, but if it was a perfect ratio, then it would be an octave. So like you can't just play music that's all octaves. I mean, let's do some music that's all octaves. Let me turn up the volume here. Even though that was rocking, we still want a little more dissonance than that. Dissonance is when the movement from harmony, right? So a ratio of 3 to 2 would be the fifth. The fifth note on the major scale and the root note on the major scale. And that's what Rocket League's victory horn sounds like. The root and the fifth. Yeah, so I went on a long thing about that in the first game. So let's see what's going on here. I just remember this being a really good game, but now that I've watched it like 3 times, I don't know. I had a great time playing. Let's see, I'm going to pay attention to the game until I can get excited about it. So it looks like I'm setting up for a goal here. Didn't get a chance to really contribute, but I was ready to. And that's important. What happened? I didn't press nothing. We got like a freeze. This game goes into overtime, y'all. Okay. I know that you want to take the controller out of my hand right now and see what's going on. I'm pressing A right now. This is the sound of me pressing A. I hope you can hear that. Nothing's happening. I'll try minimizing the screen, maybe? Maybe that'll help. I didn't minimize it. What's going on? Troubleshooting. You know what I mean? Let's see, I'll open up this. And then I didn't do anything. Ooh. Ooh. Alright, we can explore this. Why not? Is the upside down camera? Can we go? How far out here can we go? Hello. How far out here can we go? Why can I go far? Okay, check this out. Look, if I'm moving through the spectator mode, why can I go this far in this area, but it's drawn back here? This is the type of thing you gotta fucking find out so you can jump out of levels. I never noticed the umbrellas. They're a nice touch because it gives a sense of realism. Like, oh, it's just some fucking tourist cafe. What am I attached to? I gotta be attached to something, because, like, I can't go across the field right now. Am I in free camera mode now? Whoa. Still attached to something. Oh, that's why, because that was the end of the fucking game. That's why it's locked. Okay, but still, we're getting some pretty good footage here. What am I walking? Whoa. What even is that? Water? I mean, it looks like water, doesn't it? Where is this water? Where is this water? I'm so lost. Okay. Alright. Oh, I'm below the ground. Alright. Okay, gonna go up. Now, am I attached to something? I have to be attached to something. I don't want to be attached to nothing. I want to be attachmentless. Here we go. Alright. Now, let's go back to where we were trying to check out the umbrellas. Oh, but now I'm attached to the ground? Weak! I can get farther when I'm attached to a car. I do like how the audio kind of drowns out. I fucking love 3D models. Riley James Thomas just started a Patreon. Speaking of fucking loving 3D models. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to fucking be a Patreon. But I couldn't not, because when I admit it to myself, Riley James Thomas is doing the things I'm most interested in with 3D models. Like, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Tituan Malay, Tituan, Titouan, is doing really interesting stuff with 3D models too, in procedural generation. But when I really think about it, I want to see what Riley James Thomas does with fucking 3D models, because it's a lot more of like a found quality, rather than a generative quality. I think that's something that's undervalued that I really appreciate. So when I see someone appreciating it in a shameless manner, it excites me enough to give them $2 a month. So there's that. I'd tell you, this Unreal Grass is probably the thing that sold me on this engine more than anything else. It just looks so good. It's like, it's not that it looks realistic. It's not like it, but it is high fidelity. And that it's just so, what would you call this? It's like candy-ish, there's a, it doesn't look like grass, it looks like candy grass. It looks like, someone tried to approximate grass with sugar. I really like that. This layering is like, to be honest, like, just feels like a technical trick. Not that I have a problem with it. I'm not like poo-pooing the game over using technical tricks, but the grass, like, so this layering, it's like, you know, somewhat novel, especially because there's. It's interesting that they went pentagonal rather than full-on Vesica Pisces and, like, you know, with the concentric circles in sixes. But anyway, which takes effort. I mean, it doesn't. It's not like it takes. It takes an intentional decision because circles naturally go into sixes, not fives. So that's kind of interesting, right? But it's not. The layering itself doesn't really interest me, except for, with the exception of its uninterestingness. But this grass just fucking kills me. Like, I notice it when I'm playing, but it's not distracting. It's like candy grass. I just love it. There's something I just love about it. Maybe we can go back. And will the grass move if we go back in time? Oh, yeah. You know, it never even occurred to me, but when I mow the lawn, like, I'm completely aware that I'm killing massive quantities of grasshoppers and many other creatures which I claim to respect. Hey, there I am. That's my car. It never occurred to me that, like, the heavily artificial existence of grass in sports arenas probably make it a very inhospitable environment for insects. So even though, you know, I'm going through with the combine, taking out individual lives just so I can keep up with the Joneses and not get tickets from the local municipalities, and be able to walk to my car without getting soaked in dew. I feel like the ritual of it, almost a Logan's Run-ish Aztec sacrifice thing, is better than just a completely inhospitable artificial existence. That gives you a really good. That is incredibly telling of my particular taste. That goes through with many. That is a thread which consistently moves through much of my life, and my both my difficulties and appreciation of the modern culture in which I exist. So, I mean, if we're not going to leave on that, like, is it going to get any better? I doubt it. So, I'll stop this now.